So we had Valkyries Mercury last night. And for those of you that don't know my situation, living out here in the Phoenix area, they broadcast the Mercury on a local station. And they do this with the Suns as well. I think this is something that Ishbia has started where they black out a lot of their games unless it's a national televised game, even with League Pass. Now, for the NBA, the Warriors Suns, they'll typically put it on the next day within 24 hours. For the W, sometimes they don't put it on at all. Like the W, there's still a lot of things with the W that feels just kind of like pro-am as far as how they handle stuff. But I get in the situation where I have to watch the game over rabbit ears, over a local broadcast, and there's no way for me to record that. And so it's going to happen a couple of times a year until I can figure out a work around it. And sometimes they're on Amazon. Like one game was on Amazon Prime. They'll put that on. And then like Friday's game where we play them again is nationally on Ion because I've already looked. And so that I'll be able to record. But last night's game, shit out of luck. But I'm there with my rabbit ears and the game starts and no Tip Hayes, no Chechi. I'm like, oh, okay. Are we punting on this? Like, we're just going to punt on this matchup? It feels kind of weird. Turns out Nakase said they were late scratches. They both warmed up and neither of them felt well. That's another thing with the W is they don't elaborate on any type of like injury or their privacy is much higher than the NBA, right? The NBA, it's like, oh, sore ankle. They don't tell you anything. So maybe it was just load management. I did find it a little interesting that how concerned Nakase was with their health and well-being. And if they don't feel 100%, she said, then I don't want them out there. It's a little, again, what's the right term? It's not alarming. It's surprising in the sense of the culture she's built with such toughness. You would think that she would be like, tough it up, strap it up, let's get out there, right? But she mentioned the injuries around the league, and the Valkyries have played 6 games in 11 days. And so in come this Mercury team, and it's the youngins. Carla's starting, Kate Martin's starting, and you have Temi, Burton, and who is the fifth? Janelle. And we spray the block from 3 in the first quarter. Hit 6 first quarter threes and just a offensive output in that first half, led mostly by Veronica, 16 points. Salon was in double digits, and Kate Martin was hitting threes. Now, the other thing that the hot shooting did was it neutralized Alyssa Thomas, who is an actual MVP candidate, not Alicia Gray. Right? Alicia Gray is a star player, but she's not an MVP. But Alyssa Thomas is annually in the MVP voting poll because she's an engine. She's a bully. She's an engine. Think a cross between Westbrook and Draymond. That's really what she is. But so when we were making so many threes and so many shots, we were shooting so well, it didn't allow her to grab and go and push the pace, and that's what she wants to do. But the other element of that was Leticia Ami here was going to get some playing time because I forgot to mention no Illy. That's what they're calling her, right? Ileana Rupert was in concussion protocol. So no Tip, no Chechi, no Rupert. We're behind it here. And the adjustment that Nakase and the Valkyrie made as opposed to the last matchups against the Mercury was they put a big on Alyssa Thomas because she doesn't want to shoot the ball. Again, she gets guarded like a Draymond or a Westbrook where she has the ball, she wants to push the tempo, but she doesn't really want to shoot. And I thought Leticia came in and really seized her opportunity as a defender, just distance managing, still being able to contest with her length. She was really energetic on the boards. And I want to credit her with being, one of the reasons that they held Alyssa Thomas in check, at least in that first half. Now, we built a 12-point lead. We were keeping them at arm's length. It was like 8, 9, 10 points for most of that first half. What kept them in it was Kalia Copper. Ka Copper is what they call her in Phoenix. And she's been injured a lot of the season, so we haven't seen her this year yet. We haven't matched up against her. Very much like Ryan Howard, who we saw the other night for the Atlanta Dream. 6'1", super athletic, big wing type of score that we have problems with, right? That would have been the Kayla Thornton matchup. Although in the past they had put her on Alyssa Thomas and it didn't work out well. But, we seem to have problems with the Ryan Howard, the Ka Coopers, and these big, rangy, athletic guards. And so she was filling it up. She's got a pull-up jumper, quick second jump, lanky, can get to the rim, and she kept them afloat. But we head into the half. I think it was like double digits. It was, again, between 8 and 12 points headed into the half, and then we cool off in the second half. And you knew it was coming. We shot the ball so well. I think we had like 11 first half threes. It was crazy. We cool off, and in turn, what that does is it allowed Alyssa Thomas to push the tempo and do what she does. Grab and go, get to the nail and then distribute out to their shooters. Satu got going, their big three of Cooper, Satu, and Thomas. It's legit. Satu she kind of has some bad body language when I watch her. Like there seems to be a little attitude with her, but hey, it can work for her. She's extremely skilled and moves really fluid for a girl that big, right? And then we started getting mashed on the glass. You don't see the Valkyrie get out rebounded 40-29. And again, we're undermanned, underwomaned, right? And you had no Rupert as the backup five. And, Phoenix is big. They're big and physical, and all these top teams, you look at the top four in the W, they're all big, they're all physical, they all have that characteristic. But we also did roll out some small lineups because of only having 8 women available. Like there was some Carla Chen backcourt minutes together, like extremely small. And then there was Temi. And I think we have to have a little discussion about Temi because the foul problem is becoming an issue. It's really becoming an issue the more I pay attention to it. And it's kind of Karl Anthony Towns-ish, where it's like, I don't know if she can help herself. Like I feel like she gets emotional and not necessarily like visibly, right? Like she doesn't visibly, but how her aggression, how she gets over aggressive, I feel like it's out of emotion and frustration. And so she has like 2 bad fouls a game where you're like, Temi, you just like, why did you just gamble and step up so high? Or like she just gets over aggressive, right? So that's 2. And then she's going to pick up another 2 because she's physical and she's in there banging in the paint and it's physical. So that's like 4 a game that you can just like mark her down for. And her minutes have tapered off here a little bit. I think she only played like 14, 15 minutes last night. And you can point to the foul trouble, right? But Leticia really performed well in her minutes in that spot and guarding Alyssa Thomas. She's not as fundamentally sound, like holding her own on the block. They're both slight, right? They have similar builds. And Leticia really is a younger version of Temi. Neither one of them shoot the 3. I thought Temi could shoot the 3 just by like the eye test, and she has that mid-ranger. But I think she kind of short arms her 3s. Temi has been taking them lately, but she doesn't get full extension. She kind of like snake bite short arms them. And so she's not making the 3s. Leticia is not shooting with the right hand, right? So that's kind of a wash. But they're both very solid defenders, and Leticia manages to stay out of foul trouble. She's 24 years old as opposed to Temi's 32 years old. And so, she's been out of the rotation, and can she take some of Temi's minutes? Maybe she won't have to take them because Temi just keeps getting in foul trouble. Now, the other big second half adjustment was they have an undrafted rookie, Makani. She's Cameroonian, so she's a sick athlete, right? Is that how you say it, Cameroonian? That doesn't sound right, but she's from the Cameroon. And, she's a rookie and an athletic, like wing defender, but she had been injured, so she was on a minutes restriction. In the first half, she only played like spot minutes, and Veronica, who had a 16-point first half, was just getting downhill and wherever she wanted against Sammy, Held, right? They have a couple of guards that are shooters that aren't really defenders, and VB was just eating them up, right? And then the second half, Makani comes in. You can hear Nakase talk about it post-game. I guess she kicked VB trying to turn the corner. And, who did that? Plum did it to her the other day. She's starting to frustrate these girls. And we're going to talk about Veronica here in a second. But besides her getting extra physical and the cheap shot kick, that Nat was making it sound like, oh man, like that really was like, that's scary. Like it wasn't I think she made it sound more than it was. She started to turn the corner. She stuck her leg out. She tripped her. But that really changed Veronica's ability to penetrate and get wherever she wanted to. And so that slowed our offense down, as well as like the cold shooting. And then something that's happened, this season quite a bit is a veteran team down the stretch vetting us. And, you talk about Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner chemistry, right? Like that's as good a chemistry as you're going to get with a 1-2 duo. And then you had Copper went for like 25. She I think she tied her career high with 5 threes. So their threes started to drop in the second half. Ours didn't. And then again, the glass, how many second chance opportunities. And so look, I'm not mad they lost against a contending team, but how well they played considering they were underwomaned, undergirled, it was disappointing because they played well enough to win. But again, down the stretch, we got vetted. But Veronica Burton, 24 points, 14 assists, 0 turnovers. And this is like becoming routine. Not 14 assists is crazy, right? But these big stat lines are becoming routine. And I've talked all year about her confidence as an offensive player. The first element that came was she started to confidently take the 3 ball. The second part that's come along here in the last few weeks is her turning the corner and taking the angles when realizing she has an angle to get to the rim and just realizing that opportunity much more often. And it's almost as if she's figured out how strong she is. What do they say in football? I mean, this is really true in almost all sports. The low man wins. I guess not in basketball when you're playing above the rim, but generally when you're on the floor, when you're ground-based in a sport, the low man wins. The low woman wins. And she's got that low center of gravity. And so she's dipping and turning the corner and showing that strength. She's finishing. She's just putting up a monster numbers. And listen, if she's going to become an all-star guard, that's certainly going to change the trajectory of this team and how quickly they can become contenders, because I'll be honest, I didn't see this step. I saw the potential, but I got frustrated. Midway through, like, hey, come on now, right? And looking at her age, what is she, 24, 25? I think what we have to understand is look at Kayla Thornton, first All-Star game at 32, right? But the growth, the trajectory of a player's development in the W is longer and slower than in the NBA, is what it appears to be. But she's figuring it out, man. And so that's huge. Salon is him. Like, same thing with Salon. Initially, I just thought she was a chucker, but she seems like a him. Like, no pun intended, I guess. I don't know, but she's just tough. And so those two, I think, are like the most exciting thing about the future of this team. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself here because we got playoffs to worry about now. We got the closing stretch of the regular season to worry about. But since I wasn't able to provide a breakdown, I thought I'd do a little more big picture in this video for you. And my guy Nas had asked me, I made mention of it in the last breakdown, who are the 6 girls that you're going to protect from this expansion draft that's coming? Remember, they're restoring Detroit. Was it Portland? Is Portland getting a team? There's 3 expansion teams coming. You can protect 6. Now, it's my understanding they don't have to protect our first round pick this year, Josette. I'm going to have to learn the name. I have to hear it. I'm not going to be able to read it, y'all. But I don't think they have to protect her because she's not on the roster yet, technically. I could be wrong with that one. But when you look at this roster here, there are 4 locks that you protect, right? Veronica, Salon, Chechi, and then Tip. Is Tip going to play? I mean, she's such a hooper. I think Tip wants to play more years, right? But that would be the one question mark with the locked 4. Like, is Tip going to be like, if she's retiring, then obviously you don't have to protect her. But if Tip plans on playing next year, I think you got to keep her, right? So that's 4. So now you've got 2 to protect. Let's look at the bubble. Carla. She's 21 years old. So that gives her a lot of excuses, if you will. And what did I just finish saying? That the trajectory and the growth of these girls is a little slower and longer, I think, than with the men. And so, look, the defense, the want is there. Like, it's certainly not a like, I'm lazy or I don't really want to be physical. Clearly, she's fearless with her body and physically. The want is there, but there's a lot of youthful mistakes defensively, bad fouls, right? And then can she fix that shooting mechanic? I think she's much more comfortable shooting it off the bounce. If I were to guess, we talked about the angle of her elbow and how it's too bent, right? But I think if you let her boom, 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 she shoots it better. But that's not the W, really, right? And she's going to have to fix the mechanic on the catch. Kate Martin, 25 years old, and she's getting comfortable, like as the gunslinger, right? Like the catch and shoot ability from deep, the knack for clutch, timely plays, no doubt about it that she has it. But she is barbecue chicken defensively, right? She is prone to kind of spacing out and making some mental errors. And to be frank with you, I think there are a lot of girls that can provide what she provides. Whether you're taking a girl out of college or you just see how many free agents and women are waiting for their opportunity to get back into the league overseas. Like a 6'1" shooter that doesn't really defend is not hard to find, in my opinion. Right now, you want to talk about the merchandising, the marketing, the name brand. That certainly helps Kate Martin, right? She is the most famous player on this Valkyries team, right? Like if you just took a casual, like a non-W fan, just casual, a sports fan, and you said, here's the Valkyries roster. Do you recognize any of these names? It'd be Kate Martin, right? So those are the two guards on the bubble. And you look at the front court and it's much more crowded. Mo Billings, she's 29 years old. Let's see if we could have used her last night on the glass, man, right? We could have used her on the glass. But listen, if you don't protect her, she'll probably get swooped, right? But that said, she is a backup big. And kind of like Kate, you can find players like the girl that we passed on, not Iriafin, the girl from LSU that we just saw. Mo, what's her name? Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. Mo, let's see how she finishes the season. I wouldn't mind keeping her around. I like her. I've been asking for more minutes from her, but the reality is she's definitely going to be on the bubble. Now you've got Ileana Rupert, who is 24 years old, and this French connection that the Valkyries have established with Carla, Janelle, and Rupert. Does that add into the equation? And the fact that they talked her into coming over here leads you to believe maybe that she's part of their long-term plans, and maybe she already has a guarantee to be protected. That being said, there are a lot of stretch bigs in the W. Like that, there's like that again. That's not going to be, I won't say her. She's an elite shooter at her size, but the problem is at her size, she doesn't play big in the paint. Right? That would be the hang up. But again, 24 years old, the French connection. And it seems like there may have been, I don't know what the agreement they have with the French team, right? But we've got 3 of them. So I don't know what that means long-term. And then you have Temi, who I think a lot of you would assume would be protected and it would be a 5 locked. And you would have added her to the 4 that I locked in to be protected. But again, the foul issues. And then when you look at Leticia Ami here, I know some of y'all are trying to like catch up with the names and figure this out. I'm trying to do my best, but she's 24 years old. And again, she's a younger version of Temi. And I don't think she's that far off. I know that Temi brings like a lot of vet stuff, communication. Like there's some intangibles that are important with what she brings to the table. But if you were to give Leticia Temi's minutes right now today, I'm not sure how much of the production falls off, to be honest with you. And so out of those 5 right now, I'm having a hard time, man. Do you just keep Carla and Leticia like because they're young and their potential and their growth, right? Or do you go Temi and, Mo because they're right now players? Is Rupert already promised? I don't know. This is going to be, this is interesting. It makes it entertaining down the stretch, right? But here's the deal. They go to Phoenix Friday to rematch against this Mercury team, and I will be in the building. I'm excited for that one. I've already looked. It should be recorded. So I'll get you probably a later breakdown Saturday if I'm out Friday night at the game downtown Phoenix. It's going to be fun. But as far as the playoff seedings go here, and I think I forgot to mention, I think we're going to get this one Friday because the Mercury are in Vegas Thursday night. Fly back home for this rematch Friday. So that should certainly help our cause. You'd hope Tip and Chechi would be back in the lineup. And I think that they did figure out how to somewhat neutralize Alyssa Thomas. She is a little bit inevitable because she just has the ball. She's so aggressive. But I like the strategy better, and I expect them on the back end of a back-to-back. Heck, we may not see a full Mercury roster Friday. So I think we can pick that win up. But when we're talking about this stretch and where we finish, listen, call me crazy, but if we're looking at the top 3 teams, I'd much rather match up with the defending champion Liberty. I watched Liberty Lynx before the Mercury game, and they finally beat the Lynx, but the Lynx are on a mission, bro. I don't think anybody's going to beat Minnesota. I think it's just going to be one of them years, unless something unfortunate happens to their roster, but Fee should be back. But my point is the Liberty, I know that Stewie's out and they have some injuries. They don't have enough defenders. I know that they brought in Cloud to address that. They don't have Messaman. What's her name? Messaman, the girl they brought over. She's a loaf. Like she's a good offensive player, but between her and Jonquel and some of their other players that they bring up in pick and rolls and pick on, I just don't think they defend good enough to be a championship team. When you look at, again, Minnesota, no one wants that matchup. And then the Atlanta Dream, we've seen not a great matchup for us. And so, look, I'm not saying we'd beat the Liberty, but I think out of the top 3, that's who I'd prefer to face. Now, how does that match up? It's hard to pick your battle, right? We could end up against this Phoenix team where they're tough too, man. Those are the top 4 teams. But let me know who right now you would like to face in the first round out of those 4 teams: the Lynx, the Liberty, the Dream, or the Mercury, and the bubble, the 6 that you would protect. But anyway, I apologize for not having a traditional breakdown on this one, but I think we can pick this win up Friday, and I will have that breakdown Saturday. I'm out, y'all.